Adam Allahu ujurana wa ujurakum bimusabina bil Husayn alayhi salam. Waja'allana wa iyyakum min at-talibina bisarihi ma'a. Waliyahil Imam al-Mahdi min ali Muhammad alayhimus salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our wages and your wages for our affliction with Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, and make us and you among those who seek revenge with his guardian, Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahum, from the Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, from the family of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The light of this great sacrifice by Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam will always be lit in our hearts. The light will always make us stand for truth, justice and haqq, and will become brighter with each passing year, leading us to our divine. Ya Allah, through the light of the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, please help us hear the call on that day and say labbaik wholeheartedly, Ya Hussain. Recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, tonight we're holding the second majlis of the second series of weekend majalis to commemorate the shahadat of Shuhadai Karbala. Tonight's majlis once again will be addressed by Hujjatul Islam Shayk Amin Rastani, who's visiting us from Dallas, Texas. Once again, we'll start the program with the recitation of Noble Quran. For that, I would like to invite our young brother Haider Rizvi to please come forward for the recitation of Surah Al-Shams. Please welcome him with the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله وآله الأطهار.
Excellent recitation of Surah Al-Shams by our young reciter Azan Haider. For his and his family's sehat, salamti and barakat, please recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now for the recitation of Salam and Marsiya in the honor of Ahlul Bayt, I would like to request Brother Zishan Jafri and Brother Hassan Askari to please come forward. Please welcome them with the loud salawat. Allah.
ٹھیک بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات صلی محمد و آل محمد و عجل فرجہ. یہ سلام ہے بیمار کربلا کی خدمت میں. ایک صلوات سے سہارا دیے. اللہم صلی علی محمد آل محمد. یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا. یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا. اسیر ہو کہ وہ جب شام میں گیا ہوگا. اسیر ہو کہ وہ جب شام میں گیا ہوگا. یہ سوچتا ہوں سنا ہے شام میں جاتے ہی خون رونے لگا. سنا ہے شام میں جاتے ہی خون رونے لگا. نہ جانے شمر نے اس وقت کیا کہا ہوگا. نہ جانے شمر نے اس وقت کیا کہا ہوگا. یہ سوچتا ہوں گلے کے طوق نے عابد کو کیا جھکانا تھا. گلے کے طوق نے عابد کو کیا جھکانا تھا. وہ اپنے کھوئے ہوئے لال ڈھونڈتا ہوگا. وہ اپنے کھوئے ہوئے لال ڈھونڈتا ہوگا. یہ سوچتا ہوں وہ یاد کرتا تو ہوگا وطن کی شاہی کو. وہ یاد کرتا تو ہوگا وطن کی شاہی کو. بہن کو دفن جو پردیس میں کیا ہوگا. بہن کو دفن جو پردیس میں کیا ہوگا. یہ سوچتا ہوں وہ ظلم دیکھے ہیں سجاد نے حسین کے بعد، وہ ظلم دیکھے ہیں سجاد نے حسین کے بعد، مجھے یقین ہے کہ اب تک بھی رو رہا ہوگا، مجھے یقین ہے کہ اب تک بھی رو رہا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا، اسیر ہو کہ وہ جب شام میں گیا ہوگا۔ صلوات
اور دیگر صلوات۔ اور محمد و آل محمد بلند تر صلوات۔ آ گئی بنت علی بردات بندھے بھر درباروں میں، آ گئی بنت علی بردات بندھے بھر درباروں میں، جس نے سورج نہ کبھی دیکھا تھا، جس نے سورج نہ کبھی دیکھا تھا، رو رہی ہے وہ گناہگاروں میں، آ گئی بنت علی بردات بندھے بھر درباروں میں، کون جانے کہ یہ ہے کون رسن پہنے ہوئے، بیردہ روتی ہے سجاد کے پیچھے پیچھے، سسکیاں ڈوبی ہیں جس بی بی کی، ہائے زنجیروں کی جھنکاروں میں، آ گئی بنت علی بردات بندھے بھر درباروں میں، ہائے زہرا تیری قسمت نہ ملا حق تجھ کو، ایسی تعظیم تیری کی ہے مسلمانوں نے، تیرا حق مانگنے آئی زینب، ایک میں نوش کے درباروں میں، آ گئی بنت علی بردات بندھے بھر درباروں میں، کہاں زینب اور کہاں شام کے لوگوں کا ہجوم، سر پر نہ
नमाज में खुतबे पढ़ना, खत्म मुरसल का हवाला देकर चादर मांगना बदकारों से। आ गई बिन्ते अली बेरेदा हाथ बंधे भरे दरबारों में। आग खैमों में लगी औरतें सजाद बेहोश, रो रो अब्बास को देती थी सदाएं ज़ैनब। लूट लो चादर सैदानियों की, शोर बरपा था सितमगारों में। आ गई बिन्ते अली बेरेदात बंधे भरे दरबारों में। किस तरह पाली सकीना सोए बाबा के बगैर, सो गई चैन से तन्हाई में रोते रोते। हिचकियाँ दब गई मासूमा की, हाय जिंदानों की दीवारों में। आ गई बिन्ते अली बेरेदात बंधे भरे दरबारों में। सलाम।
MashaAllah, Jazakallah, brothers Ishan, Jafri and Hassan Askri for an emotional recitation. May Bibi Sayyida Fatma Zahra Salamullah Alaiha accept your pursa. Recite a loud salawat for them. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In Quran chapter 5 verse 32, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever saves a life, it will be as if he saved the life of mankind altogether. Keeping this verse in mind, I just wanted to share some blood drive numbers from today. As you know that we held our 15th annual blood drive in the name of Imam Hussain. So altogether we had 109 donors showed up, which is one of the highest numbers we had in our history. We collected 70 whole blood and 27 double units. So approximately 120 units of blood, that is enough to potentially save the lives of 360 people, inshallah. For all the organizers, volunteers, and in particular the donors, for their sehat, salamti, and barakat in this life and hereafter, please recite the loudest salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are proud of our organizers, volunteers, especially donors, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward them in this life and hereafter. I want to specially recognize our youth. So this year we had one of the highest participation from our youth. So once again, for our youth, especially recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. We'll continue the journey of Azadari by holding 2 majalis every week on Saturday and Sunday. Next set of weekend majalis will take place next week. Inshallah, these majalis will be addressed by Hujjatul Islam, Sheikh Raza Himyari. We'll start the program, inshallah, with Maghrib and Isha prayers at peak time. Registration for Baitul Ilm Academy Sunday School is open. For registration and further details, please visit our website or email sundayschool@baitulilm.org. And as we have been announcing, Sunday School Arba'in and Julus program will take place, Arba'in Drive and Julus program will take place next Sunday, August 4th at 10 a.m. There is still time to register, not only to participate, but if you'd like to volunteer, please visit our website and register in the name of Imam Hussain, inshallah. Ladies' majalis to commemorate the shahadat of Imam Hussain, his family and companions will continue on every Saturday throughout the months of Muharram and Safar. And these majalis are being addressed by Khanam Maryam Ali Tahir. Baitul Ilm Quran Academy registration for fall semester is open. Classes will take place every Thursday and Friday from 6:30 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. These Quran recitation classes with Tajweed for youth 5 through 14 and advanced recitation classes for ages 14 and up will take place during this semester. For further details, please visit our website. You can also email Hujjatul Islam Sayyid Kazim Hussain at skazimhussain@gmail.com. Tonight's majlis is being sponsored by the family of brothers Sayyid Asif Hussain. For their sehat, salamti and barakat, please recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's recite Surah Fatiha for Hussein's family's marhumeen and for all the families marhumeen who are present here. In particular, Mr. and Mrs. Mukhtar Hussain Shah, Bibi Kanis Kalsoom, Mr. and Mrs. Mumtaz Hamdani, Mr. and Mrs. Faiz Hamdani, Mr. and Mrs. Sultan, and Mr. and Mrs. Ghulam Hassan. For their Isara Sawab, please recite Surah Fatiha Masbukatan bis Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah. Tonight, once again, we have the privilege to host Hujjatul Islam Shayk Amin Rastani, who is visiting us from Dallas, Texas. It is my utmost honor and privilege to welcome him now to the member. Please welcome him with a loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. Last night we spoke a little bit about some of the verses that we can use just to give us even more motivation for holding these majalis, although they are repeated every year, just like the stories of the prophets are repeated in the Quran again and again. There's a reason for that. We went through certain verses of the Quran to find or learn about some of the general ideas that we have in the Quran that support the idea of the Majlis of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. True, you won't have a verse or hadith. Let's not talk about hadith right now. Verse. You won't have a verse of Quran that will say, for example, Aqimul Majalis lil Hussain. You won't have something like that, obviously. But as was explained last night, there's a lot of things that are not necessarily mentioned in detail in the Quran. That's not a big problem. As long as the Quran lets me know that there is a certain notion out there that I am free to uphold in any way that I feel is the best way to do so. Yeah? A lot of times in Islam will give us the general rules. It won't tell us how to do them. The fact that Islam doesn't tell us how to do it, that means it's up to you to do it the way you want to. Just make sure you don't cross certain red lines that have been mentioned in other parts of Islam as well. That's something obviously we keep in mind. So for example, you will have the hadiths that will say, remember Imam Hussain. How? They'll give us some examples. It will say poetry. It will say remembering him and weeping for him and all of that. Do we have hadith for matam necessarily? No, but it's also a way of showing grief. And so this is also something that falls under that general category of it being super recommended to remember Imam Hussein. Alright? Same thing with the Quran. So we went through 3 verses, and the main verse that we really worked on last night more than the others was the one that was talking about the stories of the prophets. And as I mentioned something last night, and I want to continue that discussion in another way tonight, inshallah. And that is that when the Quran tells us the story of Musa alayhi salam, it won't tell us just in Surah Baqarah and then we move on and we never hear of Musa again. Why? Because it seems that the Quran, yes, is a book that wants us to get up, wants us to act. And so if there's a very important message in the story of Musa alayhi salam that's going to help us in this mission of acting and working in this life, then that message, if it's that important, why not repeat it again and again? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's as if, I'm speaking very figuratively here, He sits down and thinks, He's like, you know what? The story of the Baqarah, the cow, it encompasses a very important lesson. And so I wanted this lesson to be repeated for the people who read the Quran. Bani Israel made the big mistake of not being submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said, slaughter a cow. What did they say? They said, holy cow. Why do we have to do such a thing? But they didn't say it like that. They said, oh, what kind of cow? And you all know the story. Okay? Till it reached the point where they went into so much detail that it was narrowed down to only one cow that fit that description, right? Okay. Learn this lesson, O people. Forget about the akhirah. Don't ruin your dunya even when you are not submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See what happened to Bani Israel? When they weren't submissive, it's all about submission. That's what you're here for. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ I created you to be my abd. What does an abd do? An abd submits. Correct? Alright, so if this message is an important one, Allah will repeat the story of Musa again and again, the story of Bani Israel again and again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't want to speak on Allah's behalf. It seems as though Allah doesn't tell the stories just for the sake of telling us the stories. He will tell us the stories because He wants us to take from those and implement. And that's why He won't share all the details of the stories either. Only the details that we need to know that are relevant to our ubudiyyah and submission to Allah. Okay, this was the kind of theme of last night, at least part of it. Now, I want to illustrate this point through a hadith by our 8th Imam, Imam Rida salawatullah wa salamu alayh. Where you start to get this idea that, in Islamic culture, in the dictionary of Islam, a person has aql who also has amal. Okay, this is very important because right now in the world that we live in, a person who has knowledge is referred to as an alim, has ilm. Okay, this person, even if they don't believe in anything that they know, they don't act upon anything, right? You go to the doctor, for example, he says don't smoke, but he's smoking himself. True story. You go to the doctor, he says you have to watch out for this, you have to watch out for that, and then he himself is not. Okay, this, from an Islamic perspective, a person who doesn't act upon that which they know is not necessarily an alim. It doesn't really have aql. Aql in Islamic culture and tradition, it seems, is very strongly intertwined and connected with amal. And so we'll have lots of sayings here and there and stories here and there. For example, someone came to Imam Ali and they were talking to Imam Ali and they say, Muawiyah is very smart. He has a strong aql or something like that, to that effect. Imam Ali said, no, that's not aql, that's something else. Why? Because Muawiyah doesn't act the way he's supposed to act. Anyway, what I want to share with you, it's not that just Allah will tell us stories for the sake of it, or teach us Islam just for the sake of it. No. He wants action. And to the point that if I don't have action, but I have knowledge, yes, in the secular world they will call me alim, a scholar, a knowledgeable one. But in the Islamic culture, I am not alim, I am not aqil. What am I? I am ahmaq. Okay? That means a person who lacks aqil. So let us see, in this it's one of my favorite hadiths by the 8th Imam. What does he say? He begins by saying, لا يتم عقل امرئ مسلم حتى تكون فيه 10 خصال. That a Muslim's aql is not complete unless there are 10 things that this person has. Okay, let's try to go through these as quick as we can to see in Islamic culture, you and I being Shia, being proponents inshallah of the true path, that do we have this or not inshallah. He says, look, you're Muslim, good for you, but you don't have a proper aql unless you have these 10. So you're thinking to yourself, probably theology, philosophy, mysticism, mathematics, these are all intellectual things, yeah? It's probably going to be a list like that. Let's see what's going on. I like to word it like this, that when the Imam says, لا يتم عقل امرئ مسلم, the aql of a Muslim is not complete unless they have these 10 things. What I want to call it is, or how I want to word it, is like this, that the Imam, it's as if he's saying, a person, a Muslim hasn't got it right, they haven't understood Islam right, they haven't got it right unless they have these 10 in them. Otherwise, if you don't have these 10 in you, guess what? You don't have aql in you. But I'm a Muslim. Okay, you're a Muslim without aql. Right? Let's see if these 10, I want us to count and see how many of them actually have to do with the intellect and learning and information and knowledge and stuff like that. Let us see inshallah. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Number 1, al-khayru minhu ma'amul. That khair and good are things that are expected of this person. When you hear this person's name, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Khair or shar? Khair. A Muslim has got it right, has understood Islam properly. Yeah, the one who, because of their demeanor, because of the way they are, the first thing, I'm going to word it like this, the first thing that comes to people's minds when they hear this person's name is khair. Al-khayru minhu ma'mul. Ma'mul comes from amal. Amal means hope of something, to have a hope in something. There is hope that good is going to come from them. This person's got it right. This person has a proper aql. Is this philosophy? No, it's not philosophy. It's demeanor, it's action, it's how I live, and all of that. Now, when I say this person is such that when their name is mentioned, the first thing that comes to mind is this, let us not let shaitan fool us with this. Because shaitan, he's been in the business for quite a while, about 5,000-6,000 years at least. And so he knows how to get us. Sometimes we read this, we're like, al-khayru minhu ma'mul. Alright, cool. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure every time my name is mentioned, the first thing that comes to people's minds is khair. That's not what the hadith said. It didn't say, إِذَا ذُكِرَ تَذَكَّرَ النَّاسُ الْخَيْرِ. When this person's name is mentioned, khair is remembered. No, that's not what the wording was. It said, al-khayru minhu ma'mul. This is the type of person that people, they have hope in their goodness, their khair. Okay? My explanation was, be such. A sign of it is that if I have got it right, yeah, the sign of that is that when my name is mentioned, people will remember good. But that's not what the hadith said. I'm just trying to explain here. If we're not careful, this will be a matter or means of our misguidance. I'll give you an example. Now, I'm not trying to judge this person that I'm going to give an example of. Yeah, just as an example of how sometimes things can be misunderstood. That's not what the hadith was saying, but look at how you're looking at it. You know what he said? He was a famous speaker. He said, and once again, as I said, I'm not judging anybody. But it just seemed like, something that, it was an observation that I had. He said that, yes, I like to wear, expensive colognes and stuff. Alright, that's no problem. We have literature that says the Prophet even would spend a lot of money on good fragrances. Alright, so far so good, no problem. I like to smell good with good fragrances. Alright, so far so good. Such that, I'm like, oh gosh, what's happening? Such that when I leave a building, when I leave that building, people, when they're going in the building, they know so-and-so was here. So-and-so was here from the fragrance that they smell. No, you messed it up. Very humbly, I'm saying this. That's not what the hadiths are saying. The hadiths don't say that be such, wear fragrances such that when you are in the building and you leave, others come in, they say, oh, so-and-so must have been here. Yeah, naturally that's going to happen. Right? That's going to happen naturally, but that's not the wording of the hadith. So what does that mean? That means that's not the goal here. That's a byproduct. Here also, it's I wear fragrance because Islam told me to smell good. Because if it was the opposite of smelling good, smelling bad, and we know how that feels. Yeah? So, if that's the goal, I smell good, qurbatan ilallah. Because Allah wants me, when I'm amongst my brothers and sisters, I want to be like that. Brothers with brothers, sisters with sisters. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying now. Alright, so, here also it says, al-khayru minhu ma'mul. Not that, oh, I want to be such that when people hear my name, they remember that I was a good person. No, that's not the goal. That is a byproduct. That's a sign of it, but let's not get confused here. No, I have to be such that, my head is in my own business, and all I do is, I do what I gotta do. If I do what Allah wants from me, that I'm supposed to do, people will see khair from me. As a result, naturally, whether you and I like it or not, people will remember me as good. Alright, so this is important. Al-khayru minhu ma'mul. So, this person's name is tied with good. You know who else is like that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like that. What do we recite in the dua of Rajab? Ya man arjuhu likulli khair. Oh, the one who, when it comes to all khair and good, I have hope in him. So, in other words, we want to be on the same wavelength as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That only good, there's only hope for good when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in parentheses, let me say this. So, let's be careful how we teach our kids about Allah, and whether that's the case or not, that the default and the rule with Allah is that He wants to punish us. You get what I'm saying? Parentheses closed. Al-khayru minhu ma'mul. Alright. Now, if al-khayru minhu ma'mul number one, then obviously number two is going to be the opposite of number one. What does Imam Rastani say? He says number two on the list was sharru minhu ma'mun. So the first one was ma'mul with a lam, the second one with a noon. Ma'mun comes from amn, aman, safety. Ash-sharru minhu, any shar and bad and evil that might be originating from this person is something that people are safe from. That means there is no such thing. This person is such that bad and evil does not originate from them. Sometimes there are some people out there, they might do a lot of good, but then they do a lot of bad too. A person who got it right, a person who's got it right, and their aql is as if complete when it comes to Islam, and they've understood Islam properly, what does their life look like? They understand that if I do a lot of good, I don't want to ruin it with bad. Yeah? And the Quran talks about this as well. Some people, they give sadaqah, la tubtilu sadaqatikum. The Quran says, bil manni wal adha. When you give sadaqah, don't ruin that sadaqah and the effect of it and the sawab of it. How? By doing minnat on the person, making it seem like, yeah, I did you a favor. And adha comes from aziyat, to bother that person. Think about it. You give somebody some help, you help them out and stuff, but every time you see them, you're like, hey, what's up? In other words, what's up? You're still alive because of me. And who cares? You did what you needed to do. Leave the rest to Allah. Yeah? Don't ruin that. We're not going to, the person who's got it right understands that, hey, if I do good, there's still a chance I can ruin it with bad. So this person is cautious about that. Cautious, constantly walking on eggshells to make sure that they don't ruin their good with some of the bad, God forbid. And so as a result, naturally, people know that this person is the type of person that they won't see bad and evil from. You know who is like that though? Do we know who is the type that anything he does, you can't give him benefit of the doubt and husn zan? Who is that? That's Iblis. Iblis is like that. I want to share a story with you. I really like this story. That Shaitan, the Quran says this, so don't hate on me for saying this. Shaitan has a very strong, it seems, iman in Allah. It says on the Day of Judgment, when we're all like, yo, that's the guy, it's his fault, he whispered to me. Shaitan says, get out of my face. That's me wording it. But get out of here, get out of my face. Inni akhafullah, I'm out of here, I fear Allah. You didn't fear him, I fear Allah. Now whatever that means. Yeah, Shaytan has a strong iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But even though he has that, do we have any hope for good to come from Shaytan towards us? Any good? No. I want to share this story with you. That one of these ulama, he had come across the famous verse that says, إِنَّمَا يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُم. That Shaytan and his boys, they see you and they ambush you from that point which you can't see them. And so this scholar was thinking to himself, what does that exactly mean? They get me from that point which I'm not paying attention to, and I'm not seeing him or them. And so he has a little bit of a vision, or he falls asleep and in his dream he sees this, I don't remember exactly, that Shaytan comes up to him and begins to argue with him over what? Over the existence of God. Shaytan says, hey scholar, this God and Allah and stuff, can you even prove his existence? Now remember, how did I start this whole thing with? What did I start with? I said Shaytan has a strong iman, right? Shaytan has no shak in Allah whatsoever, trust me. He's just upset that God likes us too. And so he was jealous, yeah? أَخَذَتْهُ الْحَمِيَّةُ, Nahjul Balagha says. That tribalism in him took over. Otherwise, he doesn't have a problem with Allah, he had a problem with us. Later on, he had a problem with Allah. Anyway, Shaitan says, prove God to me. This idea of God, I don't think it's that provable. So this scholar now, he says, oh really? Shaitan, what's up? Let's talk. Let me see. Let's go. He starts arguing and giving argumentation for Allah's existence. Eventually, after 2-3 hours, what happens? He proves the existence of God to Shaitan. And he says, aha, got you. See, God does exist. Shaitan says, thank you very much. You just gave me 3 hours of your life to prove to me something that I already believed in. I wasted 3 hours of your life, O scholar. Goodbye. He wakes up and he's like, wow. إِنَّمَا يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُمْ. This is what it means. He gets us from where we wouldn't think he would get us. Okay, that's Shaitan for you. Shaitan, there's no hope. Even if you're arguing with him over the existence of God, there's no hope of khair, even in that. So it's you and I's decision. If our aqd is complete, to understand that I want to be on the wavelength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not on the wavelength of Shaitan. We want to be on that wavelength. Now, when I say ash-sharru minhu ma'mun, I want to share another story. Tonight's full of stories. And this one's a personal one, that I was speaking once and I was saying, hey people, every center usually will have that 1, 2, 3 people that were there from the beginning. Now they've gotten a little older and we have to show respect to them. But things have changed a little bit. There's a different way of maybe running the center sometimes, things like that. There's differences of opinion now between the younger ones and the older ones. And then this person gets older and sometimes they will be the type that, it's not always like this, but sometimes you see this, that there will be the type that is sometimes a little too mean, okay? Is the one that everyone kind of stays away from. Is the one that people know that if they start discussing with this person is going to maybe badmouth even and speak in a disrespectful way to them. So there was a community that I used to be in a lot, and I saw one of the brothers that I knew everyone stays away from. So I said, and I'm speaking just like this, and I noticed him in the back. I was like, this is a good opportunity to bring this up. Maybe it'll have an effect, and maw'idah will happen. Remember last night we said maw'idah? Alright, so I said, brothers and sisters, let's not let let's not let the center be the place where we commit most of our sin because we hurt people's feelings, we break their hearts, we backbite, things like that. Let's not be that. Let's not be the person that everyone else stays away from, runs away from, because they know that this person, once he opens his mouth, it's going to cause problems and stuff. The lecture ended, I came down and they do the circle and salam and thank you thing, and 55 people kiss Maulana, that kind of thing. So he came up towards the end, whispered in my ear. You know what he said? He said, Ahsant, good job Maulana. These people have to hear these things. I was like, brother, I didn't tell him, but I was like, brother, none of these people were my addressee. You were my addressee. So let us not be the one who, الشر منه غير مأمون, that people are not safe from this person's shar, inshallah. Recite another salawat, please. Number 3, you know who's got it right? يستكثر قليل الخير من غيره. When it comes to the good that others have done or are doing, this person, when they see it, they're like, wow, they consider it great. يستكثر means to consider something kathir. Kathir means a lot, abundant. They consider it not a small deal, it's a big deal. Even the little bit of good that others do. This is due to their humility. Yes, this is their humility. And it is also, guess what? One of the kind of characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again. Okay? In that famous story that youth was dying and he's saying that I'm seeing a monster coming towards me, I'm scared and all. They called the Prophet comes, the Prophet figures out that his mom is upset with him. He's on his deathbed, but his mom is upset with him. He calls the mother and says, mother, let him go, forgive him and all of that. And eventually the mother forgives him for the Prophet ﷺ, and eventually that youth, yes, as he's dying, the Prophet tells him, recite these lines, Ya man yaqbalul yasir, or yaqbalul qalil wa ya'fu anil kathir. Yes, iqbal minnil qalil wa'fu anil kathir. Oh, the one who accepts the little bit that I do and forgives the great and abundant that I have done of bad deeds. Accept from me the little bit that I have and forgive the great the misdeeds that I have. And the Prophet tells him to keep repeating this until that monster goes, and he says, tell us what you see. He says that he's gone and someone else is coming, very good and very beautiful and very good fragrance and all of that. Okay? So, point being, brothers and sisters, Allah is like this. The little bit that we do, have you thought of this? Those of us who know math, what's 1 times 10 to the power of 50,000? It's a very big number. Yeah? 10 to the power of 50,000. That's a big number. Compared to infinity, how much is that? It's like 0. Yeah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter how much we do, what's He giving to us in return? He's giving us, according to the Quran, infinity and eternity. So at the end of the day, He's taking a little, He's taking 0 almost from us and giving us infinity. Think about that. And so we want to be on the same wavelength again. But where's the philosophy part? Where's the theology part? You were talking about aql and intellect. No, this is all about action. This is all about perspective. You got it right because you understand that the little bit that others do, it is connected to the khair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a reflection of Allah's khair and all of that. And so, why should I consider it little? It's a lot. It's big. I was walking in Qom once, years ago. And those of you who know, Mir Baqiri, his name is. I saw him coming. Now he's big on TV now. Back then he wasn't as big, but I knew who he was, and so he was walking. And I walked past him and I said, because I knew who he was, I was like, Salam alaikum. And then he stopped all of a sudden, turned around, looked at me, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. So I'm like looking around, like, is he talking to me? I just said it like a normal basic salam, that's all I said. He made me feel like, I've done so much for him. I was like, this little one good deed of saying salam, look at how great he looks at it. Yeah? So that was a moment for me of, wow, look, these ulama, really, they live this life of Islam, really. Number 4, يَسْتَقِلُّ كَثِيرَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ نَفْسِهِ. This person, now the flip side, considers little, considers qalil, that which he has done himself of good deeds, even if it is a lot. Yeah? You want a story, brothers and sisters? I'll tell you a story. One of my favorite ones. Tabatabai, one of my favorites. Allama Tabatabai. What's his book called? Tafsir of Al-Mizan. So, this is a very great book. Right now you can't speak about tafsir of a verse unless you, as a Shia at least, Although tafsir is beyond Shia and Sunni matters, but at least as a Shia, because we know who Tabatabai was, you can't speak about the tafsir of a verse without having looked at Tabatabai. I'm sorry. Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli, who's alive today, may Allah give him health and long life, he's been having a tafsir class for 30, 40 years now. It's all based on Tabatabai's mizan. Like, you can't go to his class without having looked at that, because he's just going off of that, and it's really a commentary on that, and so he'll add a lot. Al-Mizan is 20 volumes. Tafsir of Ayatollah Jawadi, it's reached, I think it's 73rd volume now, it's still not finished. But it's based on Tabatabai. You can't talk about tafsir without looking at Tabatabai. So anyone who talks about Quran in this day and age has looked at that. How much sawab is in this work, right? Well, guess what? I don't remember where I read this, but it said that one of the friends of Tabatabai sees Tabatabai's father in his dream. His father's upset at Tabatabai. Why are you upset at your son? Because he wrote Mizan, this very important book with all the sawab that it brings, but he didn't gift me any of that sawab. I'm upset. He went and told Tabatabai this. You know what Tabatabai said? Tabatabai said, oh, I didn't know this Al-Mizan has any sawab, or else I would have gifted it to him. Tabatabai, come on, man. If I write 3 pages of Al-Mizan, I make sure on Instagram the whole world knows. And I'm a Maulana. By the way, I don't have Instagram account. Okay? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't have, so don't go looking right now. If I write 1 page of Al-Mizan, I make sure the whole world knows. Yeah? The guy's praying a good prayer, he'll take a selfie of himself while he's praying. Alhamdulillah, we had a good prayer today. Yeah? Have you seen those posts? Alhamdulillah, had a wonderful time meeting the president of, I don't know, some country or something. Alhamdulillah, you're not thanking God, you're just making sure we know. Don't bring God into the picture, at least in some cases. I don't want to judge anybody. Yeah. Anyway, these are the times we're in, guys. These are the times we're in. So, Tabatabai has written all of Mizan, and he actually thinks it doesn't have any sawab because it's nothing special. And so he says, that's why I didn't gift it to my father. Okay, no problem, I'll gift it to my father. Yeah? Look at the perspective. So these are not things that we act it out. No. These are a reflection of something that has happened within over the lifetime that Allah has given me, so that when I'm in my 60s, 70s, 80s, I'm still not that 30-year-old or 20-year-old who looks at others to make sure that they saw me be the first one who entered the masjid, for example. Allah has given us a lifetime so that slowly we grow up. I don't want anyone to go tell their kids today after the program, oh, this 15-year-old kid, tell them, see, we have to have an ikhlas. That kid's not, he'll get there. Slowly, step by step. I have to make sure when I'm 60, I'm not like that. Yeah? Allah has given us this lifetime to work on ourselves. It'll show as we get older and older, if we take the right steps. يَسْتَقِلُّ كَثِيرَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ نَفْسِهِ. No matter how much this person does, kathir, a lot of good things, it's still not enough, because they know that akhirah is infinity. The more I do, the more returns I will get. Why not? Yeah? Number 5, لا يسأم من طلب الحوائج إليه. Do you want to know who got it right? The one who understands those little things that have big returns. Yes, we are businessmen in this world. We are doing tijara in this world. Who says? The Quran says, tijaratan lan tabur. You are here, you are doing business. Understand, a business that you don't lose out on. You will get returns no matter what. Think about it. Let's go back to 15 years ago, 10 years ago. If they tell us there's this thing called BTC, you know what I'm saying? And if you put $100 in it, you'll be like, I don't know how rich 20 years later in 2024, this Bitcoin thing. Yeah? And this person knows this, and they know for 100% that this is going to work out. How much money will they put in it? As much as they can. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, I am promising you returns. Multiple. Forget about 10x and all of that. More. A lot more. That's guaranteed. The stock market, there's no guarantee. No matter how successful you know something's going to be, there's always a chance of crashing. Yeah? But this is a tijara, lan tabur. Never will it fail you. Alright. So these people, those little things they know have big returns later. This is the most important thing for them. So this number 5 says, لا يسأم من طلب الحوائج إليه. This person, because they got it right, because they understand what Islam is all about, they know how important it is to help others. And so, now the hadith didn't say they don't get tired of helping others. It didn't say that. It said they don't get tired of people coming to them and asking them for help. I see a little difference between these two wordings. Sometimes I actually help the person out. Sometimes I don't have the means to help them out. But at the same time, I'm happy that people at least come to me and they see something in me that they come to me, and if I have the means, I will help them. So I don't get tired of the fact that people come to me for their hawa'ij. Okay, alhamdulillah, I will help them as much as I can. But even if I can't help them, do I get tired of them coming to me? No, because I know this is what can build my akhirah. I've got it right. Yeah? And so this is where, now I hate to read this hadith because it does not apply to me at all. Yeah? I am nowhere close to being an example of this hadith, but I'll share it with those of you who it isn't applicable to, and you're an example of it, inshallah you are. That you don't get tired of this because you've understood. You don't get tired of this because your intention is strong, your niyyah is strong, what's in your heart is strong about these matters. And so we have a hadith, it's a super hadith. All these life coaches today are talking about these things. We have hadiths from these 1400 years ago. مَا ضَعُفَ بَدَنٌ عَمَّا قَوِيَتْ عَلَيْهِ النِّيَّةِ. That no physical body gets tired or is weak of that which it has a strong resolve and intention for. These people that the Imam is talking about, they've understood the magnitude and importance of taking care of people's hajat as much as is possible, and keeping a balance obviously. But they have understood it to the point that their intention is so strong that even if people are knocking on their door every day and they don't have the means to help them, they still don't get tired. Like, this is awesome. Keep it coming, so that next time I can help out, I do help out. These are all opportunities coming and going. That's how they see it. Others will get tired. Why? Because the intention isn't there. The understanding and perspective isn't there. That was number 5. So far, do we have anything about philosophy and stuff? Nope. It's all about action. Actionable items here we have. Number 6. لا يمل من طلب العلم طول دهره. Okay. This person understands the importance of ilm. Ilm, usually in these contexts, brothers and sisters, is not talking about the ilm of, the different sciences that we have. It's usually talking about ilm ad-din. And it's not talking about Maulanas and Hawza. All of us have an amount of knowledge of deen that we have to learn about that's applicable to our everyday lives. That's why we come to these programs, that's why we come to the classes and courses and all that kind of stuff. Because we want to learn more and more about the faith. It's not something that just alims go and do, right? Alright, so anyone who has a little bit of understanding even of Islam will know how much value knowledge has in Islam. Acquiring knowledge. So the knowledge itself has value, obviously, but here it's also an actionable item. Going after knowledge, it says. Talabul ilm. This person doesn't get fatigued from learning about the deen. Yes? Tula dahrihi. Their entire life. The entire life they understand that should be spent in a way that I'm constantly learning about ilmuddin. On the side I have other ilm as well, because I need to make a halal living, obviously. It's wajib shar'i to make a halal living. What are you going to do if you don't have halal living? You go and you make a haram living or you die. It's one of these three, right? And that's why you guys, younger guys that are in school and stuff, now's the time to take things serious so that when you become 30, 25, 30, 35, 40, you don't become a loser like some others and they have no choice but to resort to haram means of livelihood because they didn't take life serious when they were 15, 16 onwards. Constantly scrolling through screens and stuff. لا يمل من طلب العلم طول دهره. Problem is, brothers and sisters, today this is the importance of knowledge and seeking it. We just don't read anymore. You know what's worse? What's worse than not reading is when there are educated, qualified scholars out there, and alhamdulillah, this is a community that has a lot of that. We don't make the most of that, to the point where sometimes that scholar will give us answers, but we don't take them. We don't take the answers from them, just because it might go against something cultural that we were raised with. Oh, this person is a qualified scholar, has spent time in the presence of all the greats, and yet because this person said something that might go against the cultural aspect of things sometimes, this person's off limits now. It's happened, I've seen it. It's unfortunate. Ilm is so important that it's like this. Ayatollah Jawadi Amuni, he says, we never graduate. Now he was talking about the Hawza people, the people who go to the Hawza. He says, we never graduate from Hawza. Yeah, it's a constant struggle all the way till the end to gain as much knowledge as possible. Now for those who are not scholars, to the amount that gives me more and more ma'rifah and helps me have better and better ibadah and better, just all in all a better lifestyle. Of course, to the point that it doesn't hinder other things, obviously. That's number 6. Al-faqru fillah ahabbu ilayhi min al-ghina. Alright, this one's important. I want us to not misunderstand this one. What is this, number 6 or 7? 7. Ahsant. Very good. I was expecting one of the kids to say it. Yeah, but they're Ahsant Hajj. Alright. Al-faqru fillah ahabbu ilayhi min al-ghina. Brothers and sisters, is poverty better or wealth? The answer is, it depends. And the hadith doesn't say, Al-faqru ahabbu ilayhi min al-ghina. Poverty is more desirable in this person's eyes than wealth and being wealthy. Okay? They didn't say that. This is why, once again, our scholars are always insisting that, hey, the wording of these hadiths, the literature, the Quran is important. And in parentheses, let me say this, it's very unfortunate that you see today, online especially, I won't mention any names, but some of these problematic ones that no one likes, they are really attacking ijtihad and taqleed. There's explanations to these things, Habibi. There's a lot of explanation. No, let the people go to the hadith themselves. Come on, man. It requires expertise. No, we'll just translate the hadiths for them. They'll know what they need to do. Come on, the wordings are so intricate sometimes, and then there's conflicting reports, and there's a lot of things that have to be figured out when you're doing ijtihad. Come on. Anyway, the wording, that's parentheses closed. Here the wording is important. It didn't say al-faqru ahabbu ilayhi min al-ghina. Faqr is more desirable than ghina for this person. No. It said poverty, if it is what Allah is satisfied with, is more desirable than ghina for this person. Poverty in the way of Allah is more desirable. In other words, if I have to choose between being wealthy or not being wealthy, but I know Allah's satisfaction is here, then I choose this one. This is a misunderstanding some people have, that wealth is bad. No. Spending extravagantly is bad, but generating wealth for the community and all of that, you can go to Jannah for that. You can buy, no puns intended, you can buy Jannah with money. Look at what I did there. If you know how you're supposed to spend it, obviously. Live a proper life, have a good time and all of that within Allah's boundaries, and anything extra you can help out and secure more akhirah for ourselves. Others have figured this out. We still, sometimes it seems we haven't figured this out. Anyway, I want to give you an example. One of these great ulama that we used to go to, he was explaining. He said back in our day, during Reza Shah's time, not Muhammad Reza the son, Reza Shah, that father of the last Shah of Iran. His father, who was the one who banned hijab in Iran and all of that, he said the judiciary, they needed judges, Islamic judges, because they would go by Islamic rules when it came to judging, at least partially, if not fully. I don't know exactly, but he said they put out flyers for recruiting scholars from Qom to be judges for who? For one of the imams? No, for one of the tyrants, which is the Shah. And so he says And the compensation for that was 300 tomans per month. You know what that means? Just to put things in perspective, he says that the stipend they were giving us monthly for studying in the house was 3 tomans. 300 versus 3, I mean, some things are worth Jahannam, you know what I'm saying? If it was like 3 versus 15, 3 versus 50, maybe 300. What's that? That's 100 times more. That means if I'm making, let's say, 5,000 a month, multiply that by 100. Yeah, that's how much they were making per month. He said some people went. But they all know you're not supposed to work for someone like that, in the judiciary like that, okay? And serving them. Okay, so point being, brothers and sisters, this person has to choose between 3 and 300. They choose 3. 3 is poverty. Yeah, but I choose it because right now the satisfaction of Allah lies in this versus that. Okay? If that is with ghina and faqr and wealth and poverty, then we have this one. الذل في الله, number 8. أحب إليه من العز في عدوه. And this is what we learn from Karbala. That zillat, dhul, but in the way of Allah is dearer to this person because they've got it right. These days will end. In Farsi we have a saying, Sad sala awwal sakhte. The first 100 years of life are hard because after that you're not alive anymore. Okay? The first 100 years are going to be hard, but that's it. After that it's eternity. They figured it out. I was like, the wealth, I don't want this little wealth of this little life to ruin my akhirah. And also the izzah and honor and dignity of this life, if the price for it is having dhillah in the akhirah, not worth it for me. So they figured it out. Their aql is kamil here. Alright. Zillat in the way of Allah is more beloved to them than having honor and dignity, but in the eyes of the enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what does Karbala teach us? Yeah, I know that Imam Hussein said, Hayhat minna dhillah, right? That zillat has nothing to do with us. But he's talking about a certain context. Otherwise, from a non-Muslim enemy of Ahlul Bayt perspective, this was all zillat for Imam Hussein and the family of Imam Hussein. Yeah, they were all taken in chains to Kufa and Sham, right? This seemingly dhillah that Imam Hussein endures, yeah, he says, this is in the way of Allah though. So did you know that this dhillah that's in the way of Allah is dhillah in your eyes? Otherwise, what is it? It's izzat. Okay? This person has got it right. They've understood. They understand that, okay, just because I'm not cool in the eyes of some people here, yeah, on the other side, I'll be laughing at them. I know it's hard. I was young one day, surprisingly, and back in our day, the bullying. Well, they don't bully anymore, I've heard in school. I don't know if that's true or not. You get in trouble if you bully. But anyway, the peer pressure, the bullying and all that kind of stuff happens, yeah? And so you have to be cool with the rest, right? Yeah, I understand. But just remember this, that when they're laughing at you here because you're Muslim, because of all that kind of stuff, the Quran says this. It says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. That, oh people, there was a day that those who commit sins and are criminals, ajramu, comes from jurma, jarima. These people, yeah, they were laughing at the people who believed. But guess what? فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. On this day, which is akhirah, now the mu'mineen are laughing at the kuffar. A day will come. Forget about the other life. Even in this life, the tables will eventually turn as you get older. Just stick and be solid. Stick to what you got to stick to. Yeah? Then you'll see. Yeah? You'll see that the same ones that made fun of you before, once you Google them 20, 30 years later to see what they're up to, you see it's some loser. You stuck to your principles and now you made it, and that guy's probably working for you. Okay? It says, they are laughing now at the kuffar. And the fact that the Quran mentions this shows it's actually a blessing. It's actually a blessing, the fact that I can laugh at the same ones that laughed at me. It's actually a blessing. It makes us feel good. Alright, see? I was patient, now look at where you are. Did you see that Allah was telling the truth? Yeah? And not only are you laughing at them now, عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ يَنْظُرُونَ. you'll be reclined in your chair, in your sofa, watching on, it says. Sometimes you're standing up and there's two people standing up, ha ha ha, you're laughing at something. Sometimes you're reclining and you're relaxed and you're like, hey, bring me that lemonade, please. And then you start laughing at them. Oh, is it hot down there? Of course it's hot down there. Sahtin. Alright, so number, was it 8? This dhillah, there will be a day that the tables will turn and it will be izzah. It depends on how you look at things. Number 9. Al-khumulu ashha ilayhi min ash-shuhra. Ashha comes from shahwat. When you have a very strong passion and desire for something, okay? So it's interesting that this word is used here. It says that for these people, the ones who got it right, the ones who understand, are you with me? This is very applicable to today. For these people, khumul, not being known, is something more pleasurable to them. Not being known than shuhra. We know what shuhra means, right? Shuhrat, being famous. Where does, look at it. This is the Islamic culture, and then let's look at the prevalent culture out there. And when I say out there, I'm not talking about the West, the entire world. Whether it's Iran, Pakistan, all these places, unfortunately, the times that we're in, there are times of now, what are they? Making sure you put it out there, making sure everybody knows, making sure everyone knows your name, say my name, all that kind of stuff. Yeah? What would have happened if I never won this trophy? I guess we'll never know. These kinds of things. Yeah? That's where we're at now. But it's exact opposite of what these people say. Look, I don't want to take too much time, but a story by Shaykh Abbas Qummi, about Shaykh Abbas Qummi, okay? Just look at this. He wrote a book by the name of Manazilul Akhirah, where he talks about the barzakh and the hereafter and all the things that happen. He wrote a book on it. This man, he goes home one day. It's a very beautiful story about him. His dad was kind of illiterate. He wasn't like a scholar or anything. His dad said, son, you should try to come to the masjid here more often, because between the two namazes, the Maulana that leads the namaz, he reads off of a book called Manazilul Akhirah. Yeah? And it's a very nice discussion. You know, you could benefit from this. Shaykh Abbas Qummi, what can he say? He can make sure his dad knows at least that, hey, I wrote that book. But he doesn't say that. He says, okay, Dad, I'll try my best to learn as much as I can. Al-khumul ashha, it's more pleasurable. They've got it right. They understand. Even if the whole world knows who I am, on the other side, it doesn't translate to a lollipop. On the other side, they're not going to take us to Jannah based on how many followers and likes we had. So why is it that that's the goal here? Yeah, sometimes we understand that's a tool, it's a means to getting good messages out. Sometimes it's a means of our livelihood. There's nothing wrong with these things. Inshallah, we're all clear about this. But this idea of in and of itself being known is better than not being known, that goes exactly opposite to the culture of Islam. And our scholars are proof of that. They're always running away from being known. Always. Alright, finally, last one. This is the hardest one maybe. لا يرى أحدا إلا قال هو خير مني وأتقى. That this person has so much, what's the opposite of benefit of doubt? Yeah? Has so much opposite of benefit of doubt to themselves, right? That they actually have been convinced everyone out there is probably better than them when it comes to being a good Muslim, having taqwa, and so on and so forth. It says, this person doesn't see anyone except that he says to himself, huwa khayrun minni, this person is better than me and has more taqwa, yeah, and God-wariness in them versus me. And then the Imam explains why that's the case. But all in all, brothers and sisters, last night what did I say? Allah doesn't tell stories for the sake of telling stories. He tells a story so that what? We get a move on. We change our lives. We take action. That's what the whole point is. Here also, Imam al-Rida, this is just one example of many examples, is letting us know, I don't care who you are. If I don't see these characteristics in you, I don't care if you're marja' taqleed, I don't care if you're the greatest philosopher of all time, it doesn't matter. You don't have aql. A person who has aql understands that I can't secure akhirah except through action. Knowledge is a preliminary step towards what? Towards action. At the end of the day, this tree has to bear fruit. A tree that doesn't bear fruit, yeah, what are they going to use it for? shade probably, that's about it. But a tree that has fruit, yeah, people take from that fruit, they benefit from it. If I'm going to benefit from my knowledge, this tree of knowledge, it has to bear fruit. The fruit of that is the action. The fruit of that is being a proper Muslim. That's all it is. That's what it all boils down to, and that is what Imam Hussein ﷺ gave his life for, so that you and I can just live a normal life within the boundaries of Islam. Recite a salawat. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa sallallahu alayka ya Ali ibn al-Husayn al-Sajjad. On these nights that we are commemorating Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, I just want to quote a few things from him. This Imam that for 34 years of his life, you feel like every opportunity he would get, he would remember Imam Hussein. You've all heard, they're sacrificing or slaughtering an animal. What's his question? He says, have you quenched its thirst first? Have you given it water? Why, Sajjad? Of course we have. Oh, because my father, when they slaughtered him, yes, he was thirsty. There are some reports that Imam Hussein even might have asked for water a little bit. They said, you won't get water until you go to Jahannam and you drink from the molten fire of Jahannam. That's the answer they gave Abu Abdullah. This Imam, 34 years, who every moment of his life as if is all about Imam Hussein, it says that he said that they would put the heads of the shuhada among the camels of the women. And Imam Sajjad is seeing all of this. They kept the heads of Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas in front of my aunt Zainab and Kulthum, and the heads of Ali al-Akbar and Qasim before my sisters. They would sometimes play with the heads and they would fall from the spears onto the ground. This Qamar Bani Hashim that everyone loved to look at, this Ali al-Akbar everyone loved to look at. Now their heads are all dusty, disheveled. Under what? Under the feet of the horses and the camels, it says. These heads would roll under the feet of the horses and camels. It says on another occasion, one of his servants, he says, I followed Imam Sajjad as he went out to the desert. I found him doing sajda on a hard, coarse stone for a very long time. And when he rose, his face and beard were covered with water from his eyes. I told him, don't you think it's time for your grief to end and for you to cry less, O Imam? 34 years. The Imam replies, he says, how can I stop when Yaqub, prophet and son of prophet, lost one of his 12 sons while his son was still alive, but his hair went white out of grief, his back bent out of sorrow. He lost his eyesight from crying. وَأَنَا فَقَدْتُ أَبِي وَأَخِي وَسَبْعَةَ عَشَرَ مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِ صَرْعَى مَقْتُولِينَ فَكَيْفَ يَنْقَضِي حُزْنِي وَيَقِلُّ بُكَائِي. He lost one son that he eventually got back. But I lost my father, my brother, 17 members of my family. So how can I lose my grief and lessen my tears? This is how Imam Sajjad is remembering Karbala. But we say, oh Sajjad, you're making this all about your father Hussein. Tell us about yourself. What happened in Sham? He might tell us, oh, in Sham, they would parade us through the bazaar and streets from sunrise till close to sunset. Think about it, brothers and sisters. You're tired. After all these days and nights, after all the calamity and tragedy, you're tired. You want to rest. No, we've reached Sham now. You have to walk from sunrise till close to sunset. And the people would be singing and making noise, making music, adding insult to injury, while the ones parading us would call out to the people of Sham that, oh people, kill these people, for they have no respect in Islam. A little kid, what's going through the mind of the little children of Abu Abdullah? Why do these people hate us so much? Why do they want to kill us so much? No refuge whatsoever. It says the soldiers would surround us with drawn swords, standing spears, and keep us among the masses for long periods of time. Brothers and sisters, when you have these people standing idle and just watching on, do you think they're not going to try to hurt these people? They tried to get close to Allah through spilling the blood of Hussein on Ashura. You don't think in Sham they're not going to seek the closeness to Allah? They will hurt as much as they can the Ahlul Bayt. And so they say, Imam Sajjad, he said, the women on the rooftops would throw ashes on us as we would pass by. One of these times my turban caught fire. I couldn't turn it off because my hands were tied to my neck. and it burnt through my turban and my head was burned. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Mansab al-Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein.
امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام. سب مل کے تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا 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 وارث جو ایک بچا تھا شہ تشنا کام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تھے پیچھے پیچھے جس کے رساں بستہ اہل بیت تھے پیچھے پیچھے جس کے رساں بستہ اہل بیت اور آگے جس کے نیزے پہ سر تھا امام کا تابوت ہے آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تھے پیچھے پیچھے جس کے رساں بستہ اہل بیت تھے پیچھے پیچھے جس کے رساں بستہ اہل بیت اور آگے جس کے نیزے پہ سر تھا امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا مولا نے شہر شہر بڑے غم اٹھائے ہیں مولا نے شہر شہر بڑے غم اٹھائے ہیں کس غم کا تذکرہ کروں اور کس مقام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے وقت کو زینب سے پوچھئے بیچارگی یہ وقت کو زینب سے پوچھئے بے دفن لاش چھوڑ کے چلنا امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے آپ کے چوتھے امام کا ہاتھوں میں ہتھ کڑی تھی تو باؤں میں بیڑیاں ہاتھوں میں ہتھ کڑی تھی تو پاؤں میں بیڑیاں اور زخمی طوق سے تھا گلا جس امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا بیچارگی یہ وقت کو زینب سے پوچھئے بیچارگی یہ وقت کو زینب سے پوچھئے بے دفن لاش چھوڑ کے چلنا امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا ہاتھوں میں ہتھ کڑی تھی تو پاؤں میں بیڑیاں ہاتھوں میں ہتھ کڑی تھی تو پاؤں میں بیڑیاں اور زخمی طوق سے تھا گلا جس امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تنہا نہیں ہے آپ یہاں پنجتن بھی ہیں تنہا نہیں ہے آپ یہاں پنجتن بھی ہیں رو رو کے پرسہ دیجئے مظلوم امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا تابوت ہے یہ آپ کے چوتھے امام کا وارث جو ایک بچا تھا شہے تشنہ کام کا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين السلام على أخي الحسين أبي الفضل العباس وأخته الحوراء زينب السلام على 9 المعصومين من ولد الحسين السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.